Yeah, a warm welcome to all of you from the Techcanvass family. And yeah, just to give you a brief background, so Techcanvass provides, it equips professionals to, pass certifications from IIBA, PMP, Analytics, and much more. So I am Priya, and I'm a senior data analyst with around 10 years of experience in IT. And today we have a very great experience of talking with someone who has recently, achieved the certification in business data analytics from IIBA. So I'm sure her experience, her journey, and her outlook will help all of us in understanding CBDA in detail. So without any further delay, I'll introduce Gineann to you. So welcome, Gineann. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks, Priya. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, sure. So we are all excited to, understand your journey. And I'm sure professionals who are, looking forward to cracking this certification will benefit from all your feedback. So let's get started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So my first question to you is like, can you give us a brief background of your experience, your professional experience before you took this certification?
Okay, so I've been in IT industry for about 8 years now. So I had started off as a senior software associate. So I started off with being in production support. From there, I moved on with production support and kind of functional application analyst. And right now, from there, I moved on with my third role, which is a data analyst. So it's
Okay.
not totally data analyst, it was part production support and part data analyst. So being in, I have always been in a financial background. So my domain is always in finance. And right now where I am working, it's for Salesforce data analyst. So before I could join the certification itself, I had completed my MBA. From there, I got to know that there are various certifications. There is IIBA, there is PMP, and all those things. But yeah, went into MBA with the goal in mind to become a business analyst. And I had so many interactions with everyone, so I came to know that you can do various things, not just to go into business analyst. You can even do data analyst and then move on from there. It gives you more in-depth knowledge when you become a business analyst. Like you have touched so many roles that when you finally become a business analyst, it helps you to understand everything. So one part, yeah, correct. So when I completed my MBA, when I joined my current role as Salesforce analyst, data analyst, so I did not have that much of experience to start off as a BA directly. So to build up the BA experience, one part was to do analytics role, which I already have a little bit, and to do one certification, which would help me to be more focused into that analytics role, and then hoping on to move ahead, like as I am moving ahead into into my career ladder. Yeah, speaking with managers and everything, it helps me to know, like, yeah, maybe in 2 or 3 years that business analyst role will be achievable for me.
So yeah, I guess this must have motivated you to take up this certification, right? Like anything
Yeah.
else specific that it actually prepared you. Yeah, this IIBA certification is actually good, and I should take it up. So
Actually, yeah. So, frankly speaking, the goal that I had was I wanted to do the BA certification. But when I analyzed everything and what I am doing, what I have the role in hand right now, and where I want to be in some few years, so this one kind of fitted exactly in between. Like it helps me to fit with my current role, and it also helps me to achieve my future role, whatever I have in mind to be a business analyst. So currently, being a data analyst person, it I cannot just directly jump over in business unless I don't think so any organization will like directly carry and put me without any experience. So I had in mind, I read through whatever was the certification requirements, how what are the domains, whatever it is, and I was already quite bit familiar with some of the topics, some of the domains, some of the activities tasks that CBDA has. And I thought, like, why not? Because I'm doing some part of analysis but not that much part of analysis, but because of this certification, now I can say that if anyone has to come up with a requirement, I know, like, if I have to bring it on a bigger scale, it becomes very easy for me to understand what requirements you have to gather, move into each of the domains. So most of current analysis in my what I am doing in my role is focused only on sourcing data, cleaning the data, only on those parts. So right now, because of the certification, I have even moved into interpretation and reporting the data. So it helped me to move in from two domains into the third domain. And very soon, like because of the because of moving into interpreting the data and reporting it, I can also move into the first domain, which is like going in and gathering the data from stakeholders, interacting them, and finding out what are the problems. So yeah, I think yeah, slowly steadily I'm moving into that first one, which will be the starting point and which will give me the full flow of doing the end-to-end analytics.
Right, right. That is very important. Otherwise, we tend to work in buckets, right? But this entire flow
Yeah,
gives us a very good picture of what is exactly happening in the
correct.
organization,
I
what is the
think it's
best.
very important for me. It was very important to understand that it will never be a straightaway shot that once you do a certification, we think that, yeah, now I'll get a do a hands-on on all the domains. So straight away, I think it interacts first with what you are already doing. So whether you are in the first domain or the second domain, sourcing data, cleaning data, or you are core data scientists and analytics who are actually building the algorithms or whatever. It first builds up from that domain, then it helps you to expand into some other domain which is close by. And then you move on to some other domain, then it fits all together. So I think that's the way it works for me. That it helps me to know that I'm never going to go directly into the domain. Slowly and steadily, you interact with people, you get to know what is happening, and then you move into that task and then you go into that flow. So maybe yeah, soon it will help you to go through all that 5 6 domains.
Thank you for sharing this perspective. Yeah, it's really important to understand this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, like, can you give us a brief idea about your journey, right from the first thought that you had, oh yeah, this is the certification I want to try, till got the email in your inbox that, yeah, yes, you've cleared the certification. Like, just a brief idea of your journey.
Yeah, so I think first I was very, I thought that it would be difficult because going into something that is so, like IIBA being a institute that has very difficult bars to set up and very important benchmarks to clear. So each of these domains have some percentage to clear, right? And then you clear that certification. So I was very scared that maybe I will not clear some parts of the domain. Yeah, but I took the training from Techcanvass itself. I think it was about 4 weeks of training every Saturday, Sunday. That helped me a lot because being into a new certification and there were some parts which we have never studied about in whichever classes of MBA. So it helps you when you go into a online session like interactive session with someone, it helps you to gain more perspective, helps you to understand the topics better, helps you to clear the doubts. And apart from that, like reading the training manual itself, whatever is provided, the contents that is there, that helps a lot. And I would say that reading that IIBA certification guide and plus whatever study materials at least 2 times is very important before giving the certification because it's not a memory based test. It is not a memory based test, but you need to understand and you need to remember which domain, which task falls under what, so that when you answer that questions, it you know the keywords fall under which domain, and you can immediately click it with what you have understood in your training, what you have learned, what you have, then it falls into that whatever you have learned, understood, it will map it along that.
I think especially for scenario based questions, right, it was very important to
Yeah,
have this clear
very,
idea.
yeah. I think everything was in not everything was scenario based, but everything wasn't straightforward like a straight out of sentence from the book or from whatever trainings you have learned. So all those puzzles and all those crosswords, all those mock tests, you need to do that at least once or twice. I think I exhausted all the mock tests which was given by Tech Canvas, and I even tried to find out few which are online, like whichever 10 12 questions you can find online, you try to answer that every day. You give a mock test, it helps you to know that where you stand, and where you are not clear, you go back and you read on that.
It's
That's
very
how
important to
I had.
understand.
Yeah, that's how and I think after the training I took more than 1.5 months to finish. After that, I did not want to give that exam without knowing that I was confident enough. Like at least 80-90% I was confident that I could clear that exam. Then only I went ahead and I gave that exam because I did not want to waste all that training and all that time just to go ahead and like fail for no
Of
reason.
preparation. Yeah, true, true,
Yeah,
true. Yeah, so the basic point is go in with good preparation, right? That is important.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's a certification like you cannot just read it once or just take a training and then it will. You have to read it, you have to study some parts of it, you have to give mock test. If you don't give that, it's going to be difficult.
because this is also very important perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, how did this certification CBDA help you grow in your career? Can you give us some idea about that?
Yeah, I think having that CBDA tag, like I think every one of us have that inside desire to have that tag on your resume. But I'll tell you what, yeah, that tag on your resume does help you to put you on the map to get those kind of jobs that you are looking for. So basically, when you have that certification, when it goes into the resume list, yeah, it does help your resume to come up on the pile. So wherever you are, it helps you to at least have that someone give you an opportunity to give an interview for that kind of domain. And then it's upon you whether you have that knowledge or whether you don't have that knowledge. That is all based on what you have learned on the training. Yeah, but that certification tag that you have achieved, that you have completed it, does help you to move ahead and at least get an opportunity to give that kind of job interviews. And where I am right now, yeah, it did play a big role in giving me a new job role. So I recently got a promotion. It did help me
Happy
to, it did, yeah,
congratulations.
thank you.
Wow,
It did
that's
play some weightage because I knew I had already informed my manager like my area of interest is in moving into some kind of business analyst role, moving in from data analytics to business analytics, and I've already have the certification which would push me there. So I had already communicated this kind of thing. So I think it was very important that you speak to whoever is the managers and everybody and help them understand that where you want to move. Otherwise, they won't know what you want to do in life. So yeah, so he knew that. So because of that, like now I get more of analytics. I do the analytics. I lead the analytics. Whatever the reports and the tasks that come up, I do it by myself. So it helps me to get more confidence that yeah, I know what I'm doing is right. I know what questions I need to ask. I know when I have to push back. So whenever anyone gives you kind of analytics problem like this is not working, go and find out the data. You know that you just can't run in blindly, and you have to have all the required information. So you are never scared of going back to whoever it is, be it a director, be it a manager. You have to go and ask them those basic questions of what is the problem, where it is happening, what is occurring, what was the thing that was already done, did someone already use some kind of analytics methods before, and now what you are going to do, is it going to be repeating or are you doing something new? So you should always know that. So if you're repeating, it's no sense you always going back from the scratch and doing what someone else did it in a different way. But you have to go and check whether they did it, did they do something wrong or did they do something right or something different which they did not interact with the stakeholders, they did not get clear requirements. So all this understanding kind of like I know now without my manager's help, I can go and do all these things and interact with those people. Yeah, so I've been pulled up into business calls and everything to help into analysis.
that.
So now when I started, it was like very minimum, like basic. I would just pull up the data, do some calculations, and give it to my manager, and that's my job done. Now I am being pulled into calls to explain what I found, why I found, why do I think that it is wrong, why do I think that it is right, what would be the implications, am I aware of that? So I give in that interpretation to all those stakeholders.
you're interacting with a lot of stakeholders, and like
Yeah.
your opinion is definitely taken into account and being asked for, right? That is very, very
Yeah, I
important.
mean, yeah. So when I started it, my manager was like, she would like ask me, how did you find out? Give me everything. Then she would interpret everything and see if I did correctly. Right now, like doing so much and like doing everything every time, and I know what I'm doing is right, and I know what I'm doing is right because I have learned all those things from the certification, and I know it has to go in this flow. So she doesn't cross check everything. She knows she has that confidence built in with me now. So whatever I do is like 90% correct. Only here and there she will have some questions, so we clear that doubts, and like I can say, yeah, it helps to build that confidence. Like it gives you that confidence, and because you get that confidence that you're doing something is correct, your managers above you trust you more, and then they give you that opportunity to get into calls and explain to the above managers and everyone.
Definitely. So this is like a stepping stone to your career goal, next career goal, right?
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah,
you decide.
yeah, I hope so.
Great. That's great. Awesome to listen to your journey through all of this. So, yeah. So one last question. So, as you've already achieved your goal, so like, what are the top three suggestions you would like to give to the aspirants who are, deciding to take up this certification?
Yeah, like I already mentioned, you need to study. There is no escape from it. You have to read up the guide. Read up the IIBA materials, whatever. So IIBA has a guide, I think already. If you are a member, you get that guide. And IIBA has a list of articles mapped with the different domains. So what I did was, as I finished one domain, I went in through the articles, what was there. So it helps you to connect. Those articles are real case scenarios, use cases which are there. So whatever you learn, once you learn that, you have to go back and map it to whatever is really happening. Otherwise, it doesn't stay in your mind. It will fly off once you cannot recollect, and we are all working, so we don't have that much of time to go and read and study and do or R&D. So you have to find a way which will help you to keep that knowledge in your mind locked. So whenever someone says something, yeah, this I did it, it's somewhere in that domain. You don't need to know it by heart, but you need to know when someone says something where you should go and look up, or where you should go and see that, yeah, I did this somewhere in IIBA, in this domain, that domain. It was related to research, it was related to sourcing data. You should know that much at least. And I would say that the techniques and the domain mapping, I think when I did the training from Techcanvass, trainer had a full mapping, a matrix created of the techniques versus the domain. That is very important from my perspective, because if someone like me who haven't done any of the IIBA certifications or business analyst, it becomes very tricky to understand those techniques which are used in all of the IIBA certifications for business analytics. So whether it is benchmarking techniques, whether it is interviewing techniques, all those techniques, it is not going to be by heart, but you have to have at least some techniques in mind. So whenever you are going back, and all those questions that come in from the in the exam are also mapped with techniques plus domain. So it is never straightforward. It is like this technique, this domain, and there will be some scenario mapped with it. So you have to know, like, this technique can fall under 2 3 domains. It is never one domain. So that mapping which I had got from the trainer and from Techcanvass training, it was very helpful. Like I did that, I almost did that technique by heart. So it helped me because I did not have that background of business analyst. So whoever has done business analytics certification before this, they would find that mapping quite easy, because all they have to do is take that mapping and put it into the domain. So for them, the domain will be new, but the mapping, the technique would be already familiar with. So I would say, yeah, these two things is reading the guide and reading the business articles and solving as many mock tests as you can, because when you give mock
Definitely.
test, it will build up your confidence whether what you read is what you actually know, or whether you don't know anything, you go back and you do. And unless you get, I think, more than 80 90% in the mock test, I would say that I gave the exam only when I got at least 90% in the mock test continuously 3 times. Otherwise I did not give that
Quite a lot of
exam. So
practice. Yeah.
Yeah, because mock test gives you that idea of how the questions can come up, and it gives you that where you are, where you lack your understanding. So you go back and you check according to that. And even those crossword puzzles, fill in the blanks, I think these all test like whatever you have done, whether you understand and you are clear in your concepts. It's that the basic fundamental.
Yeah,
So
because
yeah.
I think for theoretical questions, you need to see how to apply the concept instead of just knowing the concept, right?
Yeah. So if you are not like when I started off with the certification, I knew some parts of it, but not practical knowledge, because MBA does help you to give some theoretical knowledge. But when you come into certifications, certifications give the exams based on practical knowledge. So unless you have that kind of you are having that kind of hands-on, whether you have little or minimum hands-on. If you have little hands-on, it becomes little more tricky. You have to give in some. You have to try and use your imagination and read the articles. If you are having minimum hands-on, you read articles. You read the real-life cases, use cases, Uber, Netflix, how they do their stuff. You take all these examples which you are using and which relates to you, so that whenever someone says something, yeah, you know which person did what and how Netflix did, what kind of algorithms they're using, so it makes sense to you. If you don't enjoy that article, even if it doesn't relate to you, it will never stick with you, like this kind of person did this kind of research and algorithms are used for analytics.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, a lot of insights and a lot of useful information for all of us here. So it was really exciting to go through your data journey, your business analyst journey, and your career goals as well. So thank you so much for sharing all this with us and
Thank you.
giving us your time. So it was
No,
great connecting with you. Thank you once
thank you.
again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.